Hey everyone, I'm Scott Stokely and I'm in Denver, Colorado at the Trash Panda warehouse and I'm here to steal the secret Krabby Patty recipe. So I've been hanging out with Jesse all day, but I haven't seen any of this except on video, just like you guys. So if I could sing, I would be opening with pure imagination right now, but hello Jesse.
Hello.
I already told them that we've been hanging out all day playing around the golf.
Come on in.
Ready to give us the tour?
Let's do it.
This is so cool. All right, holy cow.
It kind of hits you right away, right? The
Yes.
machine just right there.
It's amazing. All right, so let's start with one panoramic view of the Trash Panda headquarters. That's the Chocolate River. That's the candy tasting tulips, but they're actually made of wax, so you have to pretend to actually eat them, but you don't. Oh, sorry, I thought this was Willy Wonka. All right, so you are in charge. Give us the tour.
Yeah, honestly, as a disc golfer of over 15 years, it does feel like Willy Wonka in here. Like being able to make your own discs and have all this, like, it's really exciting. So, yeah, we weren't too far off.
Are you going to try to drown a small German boy like in the original Willy Wonka, or is it more about making discs?
Unlikely. More about making
Okay,
discs.
more about. Okay, I didn't. Well, hey, there are no stupid questions, right? Nah. So I would love for you to show me the everything.
Yeah, so let's start
Oh, I think
over.
we're gonna have to talk really loud because.
Yeah, no, we'll come this way and we'll start with the plastic. So we'll get here in a second to this big machine. Okay, let's start over here. So making discs all starts with the plastic, which for us is 100% recycled plastic
Where do you get your recycled plastic?
from all over the place. So some of it is from actual discs. We have a disc recycling program where we work with the public or even manufacturers. Some of those discs are right here. In fact, all of these discs have been sent to us to be recycled. Some of them are, a little worse off than the others. Some of them still have some life left in them. If they do, we'll donate those to UPlay. But then we also work outside of disc golf with other industries. So we source regrind plastic or recycled plastic from sporting good, medical, automotive, agricultural industries. So all of it.
Why do you want to only use recycled plastic?
Honestly, there's a bunch of reasons. I'll just go down to the one. I was playing for a decade thinking, why isn't there more recycled plastic in this sport? Like, where is it? Why isn't it being used? And I was just like, I wanted that, so I decided to just go for it. And a lot of people use some or a little bit, but 100% is something that outside of disc golf in any industry is outside of the norm because of the problems that it creates. And so it was just, maybe I just like a challenge. Maybe I believe in the future and sustainability. Maybe it's a weird combination of all of those things, but I just got excited about the challenge and I had no idea how hard it would be. So I went for it and here we are still learning every single day.
All right, so I want to give you a little plug here because something that I've been really impressed with is, and I wish it wasn't the case, but the term environmental has been politicized and bastardized, and it's been unfortunately corrupted by extremists, and which, as we know, most of us aren't extremists. And you are not political, and you are not trying to make anything related to anything polarizing. You told me you want to use more plastic than you, Jesse, leaves on the earth. So you individually leave the earth better than you found it.
Yeah, I mean,
More than anything, it's just about you doing your part.
totally. There are usable materials ending up in landfills. I think it just makes sense to use those first, and then we can create new ones if we need new ones once we've used up the resource that already exists.
All right, did you hear that, everybody? No politics in that statement. It's all about. By the way, if you were political in your mission, I wouldn't be here right now because I don't do politics, and I appreciate that. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
All right, back to discs.
So we get plastic from, it might be recycled discs, it might be recycled elsewhere, and then it comes to us looking like this. So this is a great example of what it might look like.
How does this fly?
Fantastic. In all the questions I've been asked, that's a question I have not been asked yet. This is called regrind. You can get recycled plastic in multiple forms, so it's not necessarily just this. Some people will actually take regrind, like ground up whatever it was, and then reprocess it so it's a consistent bead. But most of ours ends up looking like this. And then because we'll use TPU as an example and not our base plastic, just TPU is hygroscopic, meaning it has to be dry first. So this, as we're standing here just chatting, is actually absorbing moisture from the air and has a little amount of moisture in it. So if we just put it right in the machine, it would boil and burn up. It wouldn't even, it's not even like it would make an okay disc. It would not make a disc. It would be horrible.
Yeah, you can actually tell if you know what you're doing when the plastic in that disc has not been dried enough.
Yeah, you can. Sometimes you can dry it not quite enough and get it almost there, and it makes an okay disc. But if you don't dry it at all, it's not even going to get you there. And to dry it, you need, fancy label, a dryer. So this thing runs 200 degrees. We dry all of our plastic for 4 hours before it ends up in the machine.
Okay. And is there a point of diminishing return? Can it be too dry?
No, there's not really a point of diminishing return. The only real specific like complication you can get to with the dryer is if you set up a process in the machine to run a material that's coming in at 200 degrees consistently and you dried it for 4 hours, if you only dry for 2 or you dry for 8, that can affect the process in the machine.
Okay.
It won't necessarily mean that you can't make good discs out of it. It'll just mean that it's going to affect some things downstream that you have to kind of be on your toes and be nimble about.
All right, so I think here's the question people would want to know. I want to know is you get the plastic, it's golf discs, it's regrind, it's other sporting goods. You grind it, you dry it, you're ready to start making discs. How do you control, or can you control, what material is going into the machine? Because there's not just different plastics, there's additives, there's no QC on what shows up on a disc rack.
Yeah.
So how do you do that, or is that something that you live with because you care about the motives behind Trash Panda?
Yes.
Okay.
So first, we try our best to source everything as clean as possible, or we try to separate everything. Like this whole rack of discs is actually separated by manufacturer and plastic type. We do everything
so you do that.
can.
Okay,
yes.
So you actually do take steps.
We do everything we can in our power to make it as clean as possible. But ultimately, some stuff will come to us not clean. So like this material right here actually came to us with small amounts of zinc in it because the product that was made out of it had zinc in it, which is a non-ferrous metal and thus won't get caught in the machine with the magnet and has to be figured out on another end. So we bought a whole machine so that we could clean this regrind plastic before we run it through there. So first, you do everything you can to make it clean. But then at the same time, we believe in the mission so much that we will do the inconvenient thing to be able to use it, and that might mean having someone stand at the machine, develop a process, and then go just change things on a dime the whole time so that we can actually make the product. And that would be something we might use for minis or something like that.
Does that mean that there's going to be a barrier to you ever mass producing at larger quantities? I mean, the quality control is so.
Yeah,
there's a hands-on thing that you can't just automate this process and turn your back.
Yeah, I mean to some extent, you know.
I mean, you can't with any discs, by the way, but
for sure.
Maybe some might be easier than others.
You know, we have only so many Innova Pro or Innova DX or Innova Champ or Innova Star, right? And so that type of thing has very little scale to it unless we're able to work directly with the manufacturers. But for stuff that we get from outside of disc golf, there are a lot of industries that are making so much. Like every second we talk, a new product is coming off the press that's made of TPU that could be used, and there's waste there. Or there's a product being used somewhere out in the world that's post-consumer, and that could be used. There's so much of it out there that I actually believe, and I don't have the statistics to back this up because I don't know how you would get the statistics to back it up, but I believe there's so much waste plastic out there that the entire disc golf industry actually wouldn't even need to use any virgin plastic, and we wouldn't use up all the waste that's out there.
I think that's probably a pretty reasonable assumption. I mean, plastic is big, disc golf is small.
Yeah.
So I don't think, here, you don't need statistics, you can quote me on that. that Scott Stokely said that's true.
Yeah,
So-
if you're looking for my sources, they're right here. So.
Well, and the thing that I think is interesting, because, you know, I mean, I manufacture discs. We may do something recycled in the future. In the short term, we're not. We're going to be we're going to be all about quality control and about trying to nail this thing. But there's room for all of us to pursue different things.
I think this is a great conversation, but everyone wants to see the machine. So should we? The plastic starts
Oh,
here.
so
Should we move to where it goes?
You don't think they would rather see us than a silly molding machine? Okay, let's go. I could talk all day about this stuff. This is fun.
I'm the exact same. I think it's absolutely fascinating, and the more I learn, the more I just want to talk about it.
Yeah, and by the way, we're in a warehouse. You're going to hear noise. I asked you to take the machines to a studio somewhere, and we're going to build a Trash Panda studio, a sound stage for you. But yeah,
So-
or you buy $10 lapel mics if I was a professional. But anyways,
So this is a 225-ton injection molding machine. Almost every disc in disc golf is made with injection molding. There are exceptions to that rule, but now we have 3D printed discs. Vibram was using compression molding at one point. There are Protoflight is CNC lathing discs. There are a couple of exceptions, but the majority are using injection molding. And that can sound really complex, but as you know, basically it means not melted plastic goes up here, a mold goes here, the plastic gets melted and pushed into a mold. That's pretty much it.
yeah, boy, doesn't that sound simple? It's not that simple.
It's not, but some of the fundamentals for how to do it the right way, you have to bring it back. You have to not miss the forest for the trees. You have to bring it back out and think about it from a very simple mindset to problem solve some things. Yes, there's a computer that helps you. You can literally manipulate every single piece of this machine to do exactly what you want, down to the 0.1 millimeter or whatever. Yes, there are all those things, but when you zoom out, it's really fundamental, simple. Screw is here, temperature is here, temperature is here, stuff like that. I don't mean to say that it's easy. I just mean to say that sometimes problem solving, you have to bring yourself out of the weeds to see the problem.
No, and I've been very open about Stokely discs. Is that it is my company. I own the molds, I own the machines. It's our warehouse. But the disc design and the manufacturing process is not me. That is an entire art that I'm not going to spend years figuring how to do, because it is art as much as science. And I know all the steps involved with heating and pressure, and every time you add something different, every additive you add, every blend is a different pressure and temperature. And,
Totally.
and then on top
And
of
the
it,
humidity that day.
yeah,
might
but
change.
then you add the variable of the plastic coming out of something, so you're adding an entire new level to the art
Yeah.
that I wouldn't even have to do, and I don't want to learn to do it. So no, so that it
It's
is
this
it's the
entire
whole world.
thing. This entire thing is about isolating every single variable and making a 100% repeatable process that you can do. So it's all about consistency.
Well,
It's
but don't you
extreme consistency.
but don't you get to the point where you've nailed it, and then the next batch of plastic you just now I got to start over figuring it out,
Yes.
and you will that will
Yes.
always be the case for you, probably, right?
Yes. It's consistency in injection molding, but when you feed 100% recycled plastic in, you can go from one being perfect to the next. I mean, I have a literal example of, we got a Gaylord of plastic that was blue, and halfway down, it was white and yellow. It was a completely different material, half and half. Or we've been sent one thing, being told it was TPU, and it was polycarbonate, which polycarbonate does not make a good disc golf disc. So it's just it's something we will run into. But again, for simplicity's sake, it's all about consistency, and these machines are designed extremely well for consistency. Actually, we set it up so that before we were here, when we were filming earlier and playing golf and whatnot, one of our employees was here running the machine trying to figure out one of our new molds. So he's got some right here.
Oh, these are brand new molds?
This is for the ozone.
Oh, I've thrown the ozone. Yeah, it's great.
You threw it today. We're still troubleshooting the mold. We're still learning because every I should think of a good analogy for this, but basically every new mold is a new variable that you have to learn and spend some time with. It needs some TLC to figure it out and everything like that.
Can I give you a tip on the best way to figure out a new mold?
I will take every tip I can.
Oh no, I'll tell you, this is the secret. What you do is you go compete on the Disc Golf Pro Tour and let someone do it for you.
I'm not that good at disc golf.
Okay, well, fine. Okay, shoot the messenger. I tried.
Here, actually, we can go ahead and open up the mold right now.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see it.
So, if you come over here, you can see it through the door. There you go. So this is a disc golf mold. This is actually for the ozone, which is a fairway driver we haven't released yet. We're still working on it. We're learning a bunch and learning every single day, but we're getting there.
Yeah, and basically, the mold comes together that it forces the plastic in, but it takes a certain amount of pressure and a certain amount. I mean, the plastic has to spread through a flight plate this wide throughout the entire mold, or else you don't get a disc.
It's important to talk about the fact that in injection molding, there are certain rules outside of disc. Just the rules of injection molding. One of them is you typically want to go from a thick wall to a thin wall when you're injecting something.
Sure.
Golf discs, thin wall to thick wall. They immediately break that first rule. And so there's complexities that even go outside of disc golf that it's just right away, discs break the rule. So it's troubleshooting all of that. A good example of how complex these machines are too is you can see on this page it says inject, position, pressure, velocity, etc. And then down here it says screw position, inject time, inject pressure. And when we were being trained on this machine, when someone was telling us how it works, I asked, what's the difference between inject pressure and inject pressure? And he said, I don't know.
That's good.
So we've had to figure that one out on our own.
No, it's impressive.
It's a whole thing, but again, as a disc golfer, getting to make our own discs, getting to recycle plastic, every single disc made is plastic diverted from landfills. To me, that I could show up every single day and do that, whether people were buying the discs or not, because I was a disc golfer who just wanted to play with disc golf discs that were made of recycled plastic.
All right, so after your overworked and underplayed employee, no, I'm just kidding.
He's a local tournament director who plays way more than I do.
Okay.
To be fair.
All right. Okay. Just kidding. I have no idea what you pay them and how hard they work. But after the person, I will say this, and I don't know anything about it, and I'm not asking you for any details about your employees. But as a brand new company, clearly people here are working as a labor of love. They're not. No one's going to be getting rich here, maybe forever, but certainly not for a long time. So anybody that's working with you has to believe in what you do.
Yeah.
Because they could probably go to a warehouse down the street and, I mean, this is reality.
Completely. When we get plastic in that's actual products that we have to grind, and it has dirt and dried Coca-Cola and dried who knows what that is, or it has razor blades or cuties or tortillas in it as we're sorting through trash. I mean, I am very honored to work with the people I work with because they show up for the mission every single day.
Yeah, no, for sure. So it has to be a labor of love. So, all right. So after they pull the disc out and they look at it, and there's some quality control. I mean,
Of course.
some discs, well, I mean, first off, just like heating up the machine, you burn through a bunch of discs. Prepping the machine, like,
Yeah.
you're creating new recycled discs every single day.
Yeah.
So when they actually start making the discs and they're coming off the machine, what's the next step for them?
The next step, so basically, if they're not good, we'll grind them, and we'll get them right back into the process. If they're good, they'll move this way. I will quickly show you. So
Yeah, and by the way, again, it's going to be noisy. This is going to be really loud on the video, but
actually, I'll turn the air compressor off while you try to find the blemish on this disc.
I will find the blemish on this disc. Well, perfect. Let's see, the blemish on this disc. Oh, I can see it. There is a line. Oh, that's better. I said we don't do edits. It's not on my channel. Like, I don't have, like, I'm not
You can
professional.
drag on it.
No, the blemish is that line right there.
Okay. Yeah, just a scuff from coming off the machine.
Is that all that is?
Could be. So I didn't make this disc, Kyle did. Shout out to Kyle, by the way, the underplayed, overworked employee we previously mentioned. He defined it as not meeting quality specs. I don't know why, but in the second that I said, hey, do that before going over there, I couldn't find it. And so I think that scuff might be it. But that's our QC. So we do have high QC standards.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, look, this is not going to affect the flight of the disc.
Oh, no.
I mean, they're one of the big things in the old days, because in the old days, the original golf discs or pre-golf discs were made of plastic that got beaten up and it broke.
Oh, yeah.
And it turns out that you got to scuff up a disc a long time before you change the flight. You hit one tree, if it bends the flight plate, it changes the flight like that significantly. So the scuffing of a disc doesn't really affect it anywhere near as much as you think. So like this is not going to affect the flight at all.
No,
By
that
the way,
scuff looks like it came off the mold. It might have fallen and it might have hit
sell it
something.
at night. Like they'll never know.
It's
Just kidding.
yeah. This is. I mean, it looks pretty good to me,
I
but
think
we're
it looks
still
good.
we're still learning. We're still
Are
figuring
these
it out.
all discs that didn't meet?
These are all discs that didn't meet. One of the things we do is when we're trying to figure out a new mold,
There's nothing wrong with that disc.
and I agree. When we're trying to figure out a new mold and we're trying to figure out new processes, one of the things we'll do is if we're constantly changing stuff in the machine, even if the disc comes out looking perfect, it won't be a first because we can't attest to the flight of it because a different pressure or a different pickup speed or a different whatever could ultimately affect how it flies. And so until we've nailed a process and said this is what we're doing for the next 500, 600, 1,000 discs, then those will be firsts. But before that, while we're constantly changing stuff, we might sell them as seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that disc.
It hurts, to be honest, because a little scuff, like, baseline plastic, if it scuffs, the second you throw it into a basket, it's gonna scuff. And I don't mean by scuff dent or tear
No, that's
or
what I mean.
anything.
Dents will affect the flight.
Yeah.
The scuff doesn't
No,
change anything.
it looks like a little smudge that you could wipe off. So
Yeah.
But then after we define everything is good, it moves over here to inventory. And basically this side of our warehouse is split in half. We've got mostly our raw material inventory on this side. So this is all full of plastic to be used. And then on this side, we have our inventory for consumers, which we did everything we could to fill it up as much as possible in the last couple months. And every time a shelf fills up, it empties. People are very
And where do people buy Trash Panda discs?
TrashPandaDiscGolf.com or check with your local retailer. We have, I think we have 150 retailers around the world. So
Nice.
if you're international or anything, like look locally and stuff like that. It's a sustainable way to buy discs.
Yeah, that's beautiful. All right, and yeah, so you got gear, you got clothing.
Yeah, we got apparel, which we source as sustainably as possible. We've got our discs, of course. Yeah. You almost aced with one of those today.
I did almost ace with one of those. No, your discs are good. They fly great.
Earlier I mentioned the machine we bought. His name's actually Timmy. Timmy is a metal separator. So all of that plastic that we got that had zinc in it, we had to run through this, and he is so good at his job that if we grind up a disc that had a stamp on it, a foil stamp, he'll spit it out the other end, saying this has metal in it.
Really?
That's how so insanely close he gets with it, which is pretty cool. Kyle named him Timmy. It's stuck ever since. And then this is another mold, so you can see kind of what a mold looks like off the machine. This is the inner core mold. We just took it off to put in the ozone mold, and it has its own nozzle that you have to adapt to the machine so it can use the right nozzle, stuff like that. That weighs 734 pounds.
Oh yeah, do you have a forklift or do you?
Yep.
Yeah,
it's right outside.
you need a forklift to put the change the molds on a machine. No, I mean, look, you asked me earlier about what surprises there were. It's like they weren't really surprises, but it's like, I mean, there's more to this. That's probably the biggest thing, is that there's a reason why a lot of companies that make really good discs, their first discs weren't good. That's not uncommon. And you know, a lot of the new companies, you know, I wish them all the best, but when they're trying to learn from scratch, it's really tough.
If I can say one thing about manufacturing frisbees, the one thing I would say is what everyone is doing is impressive. Whether using recycled plastic or not, the fact of the matter is that this is a product that is very hard to make. It is not designed in a way that's easily made. And so the fact that basically you have frisbees that are actual frisbees are injected from the center, right? And the wall thickness stays the same. As time progressed and the beveled edge and the wing shape changed, the injection point and everything didn't change and would take a whole new adaptation. The fact of the matter is, no matter who it is, making discs is a very impressive thing, and I hope I can say that not to shout myself out, but to shout everyone out, because a lot of people aren't going to bring you into their warehouse and show you everything they're doing, and I just think when I look at everyone else's discs, I'm impressed every single time.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably the company that I found to be the most open with helping others has been Gateway. You know, Gateway will open their doors to almost anybody. I don't want to speak for Dave, but traditionally they've gone in and they've basically said, what do you want to know? I'm happy to help. Dave McCormick at Gateway.
I think Dave would say that. I think you can speak on his behalf.
Yeah, Dave has always been willing to help other companies, but at the same time, you know, I understand why you keep things close to your chest too. I mean, I'm not knocking a company for wanting to keep things they figure out. Like if they figure out some new way of doing things, no, you don't tell other people. That would be crazy. Like Dave's wrong for sharing his knowledge in a business sense, but Dave is an old school frisbee player. That's the spirit of Dave, right?
And as someone who he's shared a lot with and stands on his
Oh,
shoulders,
he did.
I share as much as I can so other people can stand on my shoulders, because I think our sport and our world will be better for it. So.
And all of the knowledge I've gained over the years, because I want to help all the other new manufacturers out there with making discs, as soon as I pass away, the time vault will open and all my secrets will be exposed to the world. So
hey, the truth is you're already doing exactly what we just talked about with coaching. It's not like you're holding your coaching tips and secrets.
no, I help everybody learn how to. If I can make think, I need to cut you off there.
No,
but
you're good.
No,
That's- You're not keeping it as a competitive advantage.
I certify teachers in the Stokely method.
Yeah.
If you go to scottstokely.net or go to the scottstokely.net Discord, you can that's like the inner circle of people. But yeah, I've taught countless people how to run clinics. Yeah, it's the rising tide. So I have felt if I could change the culture of the sport into embracing coaching and teaching, I'm still gonna have my position on top, right? I'm just gonna. It's only good for me. It's very.
Yeah, it's good for everyone.
But it's good for everybody. But it's good for. I'm not being altruistic. It's good for everybody, but it's also good for me.
Yeah.
So you know, helping people can be. That self-interest can be good for everybody if done right.
You know, all this talk looking at you with our hanging basket up behind you is making me wonder if you could make a putt into that hanging basket. So
really?
Up there.
No, I'll actually.
But you gotta come back. You gotta come way back.
I will actually make a putt first try. Did I actually miss? Hold on, let me try that again.
Cut. First try.
Okay, first try. Well, I'm not edging, so. Did I miss? Okay, one more try. Oh. Okay, so I just kicked the disc into out of bounds into.
Hey,
the
we didn't hear
neighbor's
someone
warehouse.
say "ow," so we're good.
Okay, so I'm
Yeah,
0 for
you
3.
didn't hit anyone.
I tried.
Sorry, dude. I put you on the spot. And
No, it's.
I apologize.
Believe me, being put on the spot to throw a frisbee, that's kind of.
That's true.
That's my life.
That's true.
Okay, I'm a big fan. I respect what you're doing. Thank you very much for spending
Thank
the
you.
day.
Yeah, this is great.
If we have a video, your video is going to be coming out. You were in the queue. You're more professional than me, so you're in the queue far out as far as it. But we played a round of. We played 9 holes of golf. I threw Trash Panda. You threw Stokely discs. And
awesome.
it was really fun, and that'll be published soon. But for now, thank you, Jesse. I'm a big fan, and thank you, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed.
Thanks for coming
And
out.
hold on, I need a business call to action. Buy stuff from me. How's that? Yeah, well, I'm working on this professional stuff. Thanks, everyone.